This is like, yo, here's a bunch of receipts against the government where like you have land, sea, and air, and you are using all of it to experiment on the citizenry. We also have rats. Right?
We do.
We got rats.
We do have rats that you can like, put in a certain area, but again, then they're gonna be like, well, it's not a human. And then usually like they try it on chips, and then you got these other, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because like they do it on animals, they're worried about these organizations finding out, right?
Right.
So they're like, let's just do it on humans.
Let's just do it.
My uncles worked there, stripping cars of aluminum, picking up cans, breaking down alternators, getting the copper out of them, picking up pipes, all this type of stuff. They would work and slave in that sun 4 to 6 hours and make $40 to $80 a day, if that. Because these are the only jobs they qualified for.
And that money goes to drugs.
A lot of it did. Or drinking. Yeah. They were on SSI their whole life because of the mental disability. They couldn't get any real jobs. They couldn't hold any jobs. They didn't graduate from high school. They couldn't get a GED. They couldn't go to college, so they couldn't get any jobs. It was a repetitive cycle. It was disgusting. It's because of stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I know that was a lot. I know that was heavy, but people need to know. You need to know that this type of stuff is going on. You need to equip yourself with this knowledge so you can kind of look for these things going on. What the are these planes doing here? They just gonna open up this new plant in this area? Where they gonna dump this shit at? You need to ask these questions because they're not gonna be honest and upfront with you. I'm just gonna be honest with you. They're not going to do it.
I don't know what to say because I feel like saying I'm sorry is like small and meaningless.
It's not.
Also,
I appreciate it.
It feels like I'm like, oh, that hurts because I don't know how to process your hurt. But goddamn, dude, that is so brutal. And I would never wish that on anyone. And you and your family and multiple families, not only in St. Louis, but I'm sure there's more. All of y'all enduring all of that is so sinister. And I don't know how to acknowledge it. And I don't know how to acknowledge how you're feeling. But it's important to call out. Goddamn.
Well, it's not much we can do about it right now. I definitely appreciate your kind words. All we can do is what we're doing.
So 2 types of trails. We have the contrail, which is a condensation trail, and then we have the chemtrails.
Let's just tell the people at home the difference for those that may not know.
Sure. Okay, so basically, when an airplane is zooming along through the exhaust, you're creating heat and you have the exhaust fumes going backwards. And when that heat mixes with the clouds in the upper atmosphere, which are cold, hot plus cold equals condensation. Right. So like if you think about like taking a Coca-Cola out of the fridge and then it grows up to room temp and then you have those delicious beads of sweat going down it,
Sexy.
Ooh.
That's what they need to put on the front of a Sports Illustration. Don't I look delicious?
But anyway, so that's what a condensation trail is. It's when hot mixes with cold equaling sweat.
Okay.
And then we have the chemtrails, which I firmly believe in. I think that you might also.
I do.
Yeah?
Very much so.
So those, I mean, obviously it's short for chemical trail, but it's not only like that it's a chemical trail, but it's what those chemicals are. Yeah. And that's what this episode is about. What are they dumping on us?
Allegedly. Yeah.
And why? And who is they? Well, it's the government. But yes, that's,
clearly.
Of course.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Total clearance.
Oh, the people who haven't solved homelessness because they're like, let that be an example to you that if you don't get in line, you'll end up on the streets. Yeah, they're also dumping stuff on us.
Especially other people on the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one man standing outside the Rite Aid on the corner yelling they're dropping it from the air. Yeah, you're probably right.
Now you believe him.
Now
here's the thing, though. Condensation trails will either dissipate quickly or within a few minutes, right? So if you look up in the sky and you see that line right there and there's no plane around it, you wait a couple minutes, you still see that line. Guess what that isn't? It's not a contrail. It's not a condensation trail. You know what it is, though, Mike? What? Do you know what it is? It's a chemtrail.
Come on.
It's a goddamn chemtrail.
Really?
Okay? Yes. Yeah. I remember as a kid looking up at the sky and seeing these trails in the sky and asking my mom, like, what is that? And her being like, oh, those are probably what they are controlling the mosquitoes with.
It's a huge problem in Missouri.
And I accepted that because Google wasn't out. However, I also remember trucks driving through the neighborhood when they were spraying for mosquitoes in the beginning of summer or throughout summer. They had these big ass trucks that looked like, you know, the street cleaners, or they had like the tank on them, and they would come through and the smoke would go up and they would do it around the trees. So they did it at a reasonable level, which made sense for mosquitoes. Not in the air.
Yeah.
30,000 feet in the air. Mosquitoes ain't up there.
No, they're not.
Chemtrail. They're controlling the weather, okay? They're controlling our minds, and possibly worse.
Yeah, 100%.
1950s, right? It's this thing called Operation Sea Spray. So the military thought this bacteria was harmless, right? They thought it was harmless. But 11 people came into the hospital with strange infections. Now, doctors are baffled. I mean, gobsmacked. They don't know how these people have gotten this bacteria infection because the bacteria isn't local. So local government officials were told that the Army was conducting this experiment to shield St. Louis with a smokescreen from Russian planes. So in the mid-1990s, it came to light that this was not the case. They actually wanted to test this smokescreen on St. Louis because it resembled Russian cities that the U.S. wanted to attack.
Oh,
and
dude.
I'm sorry, I just gotta laugh at that because that's to think that worked. We were that ignorant because Google didn't exist. Like,
I'm sorry.
Like it was gonna be enough smoke to cover the whole city.
You don't think Russia wants to know the secret of Provel cheese? You don't think toasted ravioli is on Putin's radar?
This is you for the people at home. You don't think that Russian planes would be able to spot where Missouri is as a whole? That smokescreen is going to work so well that for St. Louis that they're going to be like, I don't even see Missouri on the map right now.
Where's that black hole in the middle?
What is happening right now? They just took it. Government officials just said, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. They didn't question anything. There was also another operation called Operation Large Area Coverage. The U.S. Army sprayed zinc, cadmium sulfide, a fine fluorescent powder, at schools, from cars, from planes. This
You want to say it again for the people in the back?
Where we from?
St. Louis?
St. Louis. They did that. Where we're from. And didn't tell anybody. An investigation by the U.S. Senate actually took place, but it found it wasn't an isolated event, meaning that this had happened before. They had done this at least one more time in another place and had not told the civilians there either. This is just what the government has the power to do. Without our consent, without our knowledge.
The thing is, every single time they do that to the American public, I believe the reason they do it to the American public and not overseas is because that's a declaration of war.
It absolutely is.
You do that to another country, that is a declaration of war. We came for your people, we messed up your people, and now your people got by us. That is war. You do it to us, and we say it's under the guise of safety to keep us safe from war and things like that. And they're like, these patsies, by the time they find out about it, like there's going to be a new season of Matlock on, so let's all relax. You know what I mean?
Miracle.
Like, it's crazy. Well, you make me think of the More You Know Star Rainbow, except that the rainbow is poison and radiation.
It's all chemtrail.
And just zinc and just horrendous poisonous gases brought on by the U.S. government with a star at the end, like the more you know. The amount of people in the government who think so less than of not only St. Louis, but also the underprivileged people in St. Louis, that it is seen as a like festering boil on this country to some people. And the very idea of being like, let's cover school children's arms in cadmium zinc and just see what happens.
See what happens.
It's so up. And
that works.
And like this doesn't feel like a conspiracy episode, if I'm going to be honest. This is like, yo, here's a bunch of receipts against the government where like you have land, sea, and air, and you are using all of it to experiment on the citizenry.
I agree.
I can't.
The conspiracy is going to come though, because even though we now know this information, we don't know exactly why they were doing it. Were they conducting these for
Well, there was radiation in it. There was small doses of radiation in there, and so there would be like kids and people who would have like radiation poisoning because of it. And like if you're a small child, like your arms are tiny. It's not going to take as much radiation as a man like you or me.
You're a little guy.
Also, is this why I've had eczema my whole life?
People becoming aware of what's actually going on. In 1996, the U.S. Air Force publishes a report about the possibility of using chemicals to manipulate the weather. Now, we've heard a lot about this. I think China was one of the countries that really was in the forefront of manipulating the weather. Conspiracy theories believe that the government was actively developing such technology for military use.
Yes.
Which, I mean, let's be honest. It's genius. It's genius. Like if you are going to war with somebody and you have the upper hand because you can control the weather on their land and make it a storm and conditions for them to fight in. Oh man, you are killing it, 100%. Right?
I mean, these are the same people. The government. You heard about the gay bomb?
I think so.
Yeah, spending millions of dollars on a bomb that turns people gay.
Yeah.
Right.
So they say.
Allegedly. Allegedly. Yeah. But like, go on Wikipedia. Gay bomb.
Yeah.
Just give it a read.
It's Googleable. It's Googleable. Then in the late 90s, folks started posting their reports of chemical sightings in online forums. This is when the chat rooms and blogs start to become kind of popular. But it's still early. Like the internet is still in its infancy stages, right? Moving on to 2001, U.S. Congressional Representative Dennis Kucinich introduces the Space Preservation Act, which seeks to ban chemtrails. Interesting. Then in 2010, Michael J. Murphy's documentary, What in the World Are They Spraying?, claims that government here and abroad is engaged in secretive geoengineering projects.
Facts.
I think all of that's facts.
Facts.
I think all of it's facts.
Of course it is.
I just, it's baffling to me that they would do that on home soil, on our people. But I also understand, like you said, as much as it sucks, as much as it's up, I understand crazy enough why they do it.
Oh.
If you are part of a group or team, organization that's leading the country and you care about preservation of safety, you have to make sure these things work before you drop it on the enemy.
Sure.
And if doing this on another country is going to incite a war, where can we do this? You find some of the poor cities in the country to try it on. You find countries that are already, cities that are already in despair. You find cities that have a low education rate, a high poverty rate. These are the places that you do it. And I know it's up to my core.
Yep.
But I see why they did it.
They think it's a necessary
deterrent.
Sure.
For
as a superpower in the world, when we feel like everyone's coming for us, Russia and China are aligning. Like there are games at play where there is more at stake than blank area.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is really about whose stick is bigger. And they can kind of wrap it up and try to wrap it up in preservation of safety for the U.S. But when you're doing this type of sick on your home soil, it just kind of comes off kind of crazy.
We also have rats. Right?
We do.
We got rats.
We do have rats that you can put in a certain area, but again, then they're gonna be like, well, it's not a human. And then you just they try it on chips, and then you got these other, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because they do it on animals, they're worried about these organizations.
Right.
Finding out, right?
Right.
So they're like, let's just do it on humans.
The government has, you can look it up, it's called Operation Popeye. What we did was we did cloud seeding where we tried to make rain clouds go up over Vietnam. And that was to hopefully induce a bigger, longer tsunami season. So the rain would never stop. We would wash out their crops. They would not be able to march. We would just flood Vietnam, essentially, during the Vietnam War. It's called Operation Popeye. And so cloud seeding is a very real wartime tactic that can be used not just in Vietnam, but obviously any place, anytime, in any way. What if Twisters 2 is real. What one of these teams is doing while they're searching for Twisters is they're going to the decimated land and they're buying it up for cheap, right? Because your home is destroyed, you have nothing. Maybe you have some insurance, maybe not, but you probably don't have enough. And so someone will go in there, cut you a check right now. Hey, let me just give you this free money. And then you move along and then you own that land and then you can build bigger properties. So what if we have a place like BlackRock, which we've talked about on multiple episodes, how they're buying up all the land, they're buying up all the homes. It's impossible for anyone else to get a home. So what if through cloud seeding, we're creating tsunamis, we're creating twisters, we're creating all of these natural disasters throughout the country, knocking over all the land. BlackRock comes in and is like, I'll cut you a check for $50,000 right now, but we're going to triple that. We're going to do insider trading. And next thing you know, all of our guys are making millions on your land and you're left with a bag of $50,000 and nothing else. So it's not too far-fetched to think that something like controlling the weather will be a capitalistic move. And it's just business at the end of the day, baby. Even like within recent times, you've got Hurricane Helen, you've got the Maui fires. And I don't know if you remember when FEMA was like, we've got to get resources over there. And all these people are donating. Gal Gadot, I think, was singing Puff the Magic Dragon or something like that to rally the troops. I can't exactly remember, but she's always singing for some cause. And the whole time FEMA's like, we're going to get these people out. We're going to save these children in the Maui fires. Everything's going to be okay. Trust the government. Trust the government. It's still decimated.
Yeah.
They're still buying up all of the land. Hurricanes. We had people in arenas, in stadiums, sleeping under thin wool blankets, barely enough food, people making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in their home to pass out to all of these people who have been unhoused. And the government is doing nothing but buying up the land. The government is doing nothing but all of a sudden that money from FEMA disappears. All of a sudden, all of our donations, our hard work, our community building goes the way of the winds, literally. And where's the help? Where was the help?
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy.
It's heavy.
2024 Tennessee Governor Bill Lee signed into law, like just pushed it through, a chemtrail ban bill. It doesn't exactly mention chemtrails, but it's like, here are all the things we got to ban. And I'm just going to read them. Technology such as SRMs, things that impact weather patterns like temperature and sunlight, targeted geoengineering technology, anything that messes with our air, Tennessee has put a stop to.
Good job, Bill.
On that bill.
On that bill.
On that bill. So,
this is one of them episodes I had to take a couple of breathers with.
Yeah.
And it can always go deeper, like the chemtrails and the hurricanes. Could it be with a political storm, right? They can manipulate the weather and cause. And now you got somebody that's like, oh, I'm going to make sure that FEMA always stays funded. I'm going to make sure that any person unhoused from a natural disaster is going to be first priority, top priority. And this is all just for the government's joy.
Yeah, pockets.
Take care of them, and then they take care of the finances. Now they own everything. They approve companies like BlackRock and other things to operate in these places and buy up all this land. Because they have to get permission for somebody to do some like that, right?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, BlackRock is literally dropping hot fudge sundaes on Minnesota right now as we speak, not cleaning up any of the fudge and then buying up all of the land. And you can look it up. It's happening right underneath us.
Also hit that subscribe button and that share button. Do us a favor.
Please, we're trying to get in that algorithm, puff some stuff, click right here, go in, down that rabbit hole. What are you doing?
That's my happy dance.
Oh, nice.